Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana. If you're a dog owner and just love taking your best friend out for a hike, you want to pay attention to this. We're here today with special guest, Paul Hoskinson, who's here to share with us his company, Fido Protection. So welcome to the show, Paul.
Hi, Marianne. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here, Paul. I'm so excited we get to talk about your emergency dog sling. Once I saw your product on the 14ers website, that's 14ers.com, that gives all this great information on hiking in Colorado, I knew we needed to talk. So what inspired you to create this?
Well, it was inspired out of necessity, really. Necessity being the mother of invention. I had an accident with my dog almost 5 years ago to the day now. So it was over Memorial Day weekend 5 years ago. I was up on top of Independence Pass near Aspen, Colorado, backcountry skiing. I was with a couple friends, and we had taken our dogs with us and skinned up to top of a peak, which was quite a ways from where we were parked. So we had probably skinned, which is basically using your downhill ski equipment with skins on the bottom to walk uphill in order to access this area. We had skinned for about, an hour and a half, 2 hours. So we were a fair distance from the vehicles. And I had skied with my dog many, many times over the years, and it was kind of business as usual as we were at the top of this peak ready to ski down. As I started down, I encountered some avalanche debris, which kind of slowed me down. And unbeknownst to me, my dog had caught up to me. Typically, when I ski down, I'm way out in front of her, and she's kind of following in my path behind at a safe distance. But as I slowed down to avoid this debris, she had caught up with me, and I made a turn and saw her out of the corner of my eye and turned quickly to miss her. And I felt that I had made contact with her. It wasn't a big collision, but I could feel that my ski had made contact with her. So I turned to a stop and looked up the hill, and there was my poor dog, Remy, kind of looking at me, looking at her leg, and looking at me as blood poured out of her leg. And I was shocked. So my ski edge, when I made contact with her, my ski edge had cut her right front leg, and it was bleeding badly. So first order of business was to try and stop the bleeding. As I said, I had a couple of friends with me, so they came over, and I pulled out my first aid kit from my backpack, which I always carry. So fortunately, I had that with me. We wrapped her leg, and we were able to stop the bleeding. And then the next order of business was to try and figure out how to get a 65-pound dog, how to carry a 65-pound dog out of this bowl that we were in. We had skied almost to the bottom of this bowl. So we were, at this point, 2 hours from safety from our vehicles, and then I was another 45-minute drive to get her to a vet. So I emptied my backpack, the contents of my backpack, and squeezed my 65-pound dog into my day pack. So it was a fairly small backpack. Had she weighed 1 or 2 more pounds, she wouldn't have fit. My friends were nice enough to carry my expensive gear, put it into their packs, and I started the process of carrying my 65-pound dog out of the backcountry on skis. It felt like I was carrying an elephant because she was placed vertically in a standard backpack. So I had all of this weight on my shoulders as I skinned out of the backcountry. So once I got her to the truck, I rushed her to the vet, and the vet said, you've cut through her 2 extensor tendons, on her right front leg. And this is a very touchy situation. We have to perform surgery. Basically, there's a 50-50 chance that she'll survive. So throughout this whole process, from when the accident occurred and then when I got the news from the vet, it was all extremely emotional and very traumatic. I felt horrible that I had caused this injury to my dog. And, as the accident was going on, and we were tending to her wound and trying to figure out how we would get her out, I felt extremely irresponsible for not having a plan to extract her from the backcountry if she became injured like she was at that moment. So I was feeling very badly about myself and the situation. Fortunately, Remy recovered 100%. The surgery was successful, and it was about 8 weeks of recovery in a cast. But she is now 100%. Once the dust settled from this event, I started searching for a product online that I could carry with me when I take my dog hiking or backcountry skiing or mountain biking. Anytime we get, a mile or more from the trailhead, if she were to become sick or injured again, I would need a way to rescue her. So I searched and searched, and there was no such product. So I decided to see if I could design something myself that would be a lightweight, packable device that I could carry with me in the bottom of my backpack. I could pull out in the event my dog were to get injured again. It was a process, as most things are. They seem simple at first, but this was actually quite difficult to design something that can carry a lateral load. So side to side horizontal load versus a vertical load. As you picture a backpack, you stuff things in the top and you carry it vertically over your shoulders, as opposed to this airlift product that I invented that is a horizontal carry. And there were some design issues that we faced with that we overcame. I designed something that has 8 points of contact on it, these V-shaped straps that assist in distributing the weight so the dog does not feel as heavy as it actually is, and it rides very comfortably in the airlift. So that's what inspired the invention and me going down this road. It was an actual real life, traumatic, emotional, dare I say, terrifying event when I saw my dog bleeding there in the snow, and then the realization that I had no way of rescuing her. So that was the inspiration behind the original product, the airlift.
Well, thank you for going through that. Explaining that, because I think that that's probably every dog owner's worst nightmare, is being someplace too far. You can't carry your dog. You're in backcountry or on a hike or what have you, and something happens to your dog and you have to figure out how you're going to evacuate.
That's exactly it. And most people, like myself, I was guilty of it. I had a dog before Remy. I've been traveling the backcountry with my dogs now for going on 25 years. And oftentimes it would be in the back of my head. I would get sometimes, 10, 15 miles from a trailhead doing a really long trail run. And I would think to myself, what would I do? There's no cell service back there. There are very few people. When the further you get from the trailhead, the fewer people there are. And even if there were cell service, you could call search and rescue, but they make up their own policies. Each county has their own policies pertaining to animal rescue, and many search and rescue organizations don't allow it. They prohibit their personnel from rescuing animals. And if they do agree to come get your dog, it's always the least of their priorities. It'll be last on the list. So if they have other things going on that day, they're not going to come and help you. So So, you're stuck in this situation where you might have to abandon your dog to go get others to come and help you. And the unthinkable can happen, right? And so I was as guilty as anyone for not having a plan. But now there is something that people can carry with them. It might not ever be used. It's like a first aid kit, right? Hopefully you never have to pull the first aid kit out and use some of the serious stuff in there, like the gauze and the bandages and some of the stuff that you would need in a more serious injury. And that's basically what the airlift is. It's insurance that if you do run into a situation where you need to rescue your dog, you can. And it could be that you're not strong enough to carry your 45, 50 to 120 pound dog. I mean, I've lifted a 95-pound dog up by myself using this product, but I'm pretty fit and I'm on the bigger side. But if you have a dog that you can't lift, at least you have a tool with you that you can solicit help from others with.
Yeah, I love how you have also there's straps that other people can help. So it's not just you that's toting the dog, and it's, from what I understand, it's very easy for women too to use it.
It is, and I'm careful with using the term easy. I mean, full disclosure here, this is not the most comfortable thing to wear. We make a couple different products now. The Airlift was the original product, and that's the one that weighs roughly 9 ounces, depending on size. It fits in a stuffed sack that's about the size of a Chipotle burrito. I'll use that because people are familiar with that term, or with the size of that product. Most people know what that is, and so that's about the size of this thing, and it's about 9 ounces. You just stuff it in the bottom of your pack, but it does take up space and volume. So we made a harness that the dog actually wears. So it's a dog harness. It's a really well-made, nice dog harness. There's nothing new about that, but it does have a deployable rescue sling built into it. So it's that product the dog wears, which alleviates you from having to take up valuable space in your backpack, carrying the Airlift. But back to your comment about it's easy for women to use. It's the Airlift and the Ponza harness both are not the most comfortable things you'll ever put on. They're emergency use products. They are lightweight and packable by design. Therefore, they are fairly bare bones. So be prepared if you need to pull the Airlift out or engage the Ponza harness. Be prepared for some effort, some discomfort, and probably a pretty long process, depending on how far you are from the trailhead and extracting your dog. But all that said, it's far better than the alternative.
I'd agree with you on that. I mean, I was so impressed with what you created here. And as soon as I saw it on the 14ers.com website, I was like, oh, we've got to talk, because I think that this is kind of a missing piece for a lot of people that go out and take their dogs hiking or camping or what have you, because we really need something that will help our little fuzzy friends, get back home.
That's right. And so that's the point. We should be responsible for our dogs. That we love them, and I think my dog's pretty smart, but she's pretty smart for a dog, right? They don't realize what it is that they're doing. We're taking them into the wilderness, and they rely on us for a lot of things. And one of those things is good judgment, right? You wouldn't take me somewhere that you can't get me out of, right? And so that's the situation. We need to be responsible for them if they become sick or injured while they're with us on adventures. They love it. I love having my dog with me. I wouldn't sacrifice that for the world. It's what she lives for. It's when she's the happiest, is when she's out on these adventures. But all that said, that can change very quickly if something goes wrong.
Yes, it's all part of responsible dog ownership. Well, Paul, where can our listeners connect with you and learn more about your work and the different products you have?
Yeah, so the name of the company is Fido Pro. Pro is short for protection. So the website is www.fidoprotection.com.
Well, Paul, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
You're welcome, Marianne. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Paul. It's been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about your amazing company, Fido Protection. If you'd like to learn more about the dog harnesses that they have there for emergency situations, make sure to visit fidoprotection.com. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary. A recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.